So a bunch of billionaires on a stage, I said with a B, are answering the question of a parent who is concerned about his child who's now going into college and asking what should his child study that will make him relevant in today's AI world, particularly because of ChatGPT. Y'all, that question alone poses by itself so many concerns. And I'm going to run down some of them. They would not allow me to stitch this video, but I'm going to provide at least a photo and then the link in the comments. I couldn't even tag it, or I don't, maybe I can, I'll see. But let's talk about it. Okay, this is not going to be kind, and I can't figure out a nice way to say it, and sometimes I ain't nice, fuck. Sometimes it just comes out. Listen, just because folk got a bunch of money don't mean they smart. These people sound like a bunch of fucking babbling idiots. If you are still looking to other people for the direction of your life, you haven't learned shit through this whole pandemic and breakdown and all kinds of stuff. Y'all, I'm going to say this and throughout, hopefully everything I say to you will bring you to the point that you understand that your direction should not be coming from anything and anybody other than you. That doesn't mean don't do your research, but the research you used to do was for the old world. And if you still operating in the old world, you wasting your time anyway. That means you are still ignoring your divinity, which ain't got shit to do with religion. Keep listening. There is so much fear-based AI porn that's out there, and then one of the billionaires made this point that people are running scared about their jobs, because that was the basis of the conversation. What should they study? What will the world be like? People predicted AI was happening in those who worked in the industry, but the general public is so shocked behind what AI is able to do because they weren't paying attention to it. Because we were still following the old programming, because people are still going to get the education thinking that is leading to their independence when it was actually still creating a workforce. And that doesn't mean that there won't be things to do. There won't be work to do. I believe that anything you end up doing, you need to be in the driver's seat of your own life. Why in the hell is it a father who is trying to direct his now 18, 19, 20-year-old children? They came here divine until the culture started to strip them of it. The first culture, and I'll continue to say this, some folk come and try and be deep about it, but you can say what you want. Your first cult, the first 4 words of culture is cult. So your first cult is your family. And you start to believe what they say more than you do anybody, because there is something about those 1 to 7 years that totally set up the whole rest of your life. Many of you are still trying to get away from that subconscious natural automatic shit you do, and you can't figure out why it keeps happening or why you keep believing it. It's because of what was instilled in those first 7 years. And I'm telling you, your life is divine. It doesn't matter who you came through. You didn't come for them. And if you are still alive in this time, and as everybody who's listening, your life included this period of time. But the only way you're going to get through it successfully is to break away from every damn thing you thought you knew, especially everything that's creating anxiety for you right now. That's some wrong programming. But there is some corrected programming for you. This is a corrective and recovery space, and that's the mode most of you need to be in. Baby, I've had to get in it. I thought I was in it all those years I was doing personal development, baby. Personal development and divinity, operating in your divinity, are not the same. Although, in order to operate in your divinity, you need personal development. Ultimately, I've come to say one thing. There is absolutely nothing to fear. Nothing. You do not need to be afraid in this time of anything. There is nothing for you to fear. Lastly, fear is the only mechanism that keeps the powers that be in control, in operation. So what does that mean for you? You got to get rid of the damn fears. Learn to control them. What is your daily conversation like? Are you talking to everybody about how AI is taking your jobs and looking at life right now and how you can't pay your bills? I'm telling you, if that's where you are, you're doing some shit wrong. I'm not usually one for labels, but if you are in any way suffering through these changes, whether you call them natural or not, they are what our world is right now. And there are always ways to be successful through them. There are things that you will need to modify, but how do you know what those things are? And I'm telling you, those things are not the same for everybody. And the only way to know what is right for you is to tap into your own divinity. It's time for you to start rejecting their programming and start to trust yourself. That is a process. But it starts with some foundational understanding. Those of you who want more will go get it. I don't have to tell you where to go. Those of you who are truly hungry will get on a search. That's how I got to where I am. Listen, you got to get to the point to where you say, fuck what they think they know. I got to get to knowing some shit for myself. Yes. Get on that journey. And I'm pulling for you because I know what's possible for you. You don't have to be running scared. I'm listening to these billionaires on a stage sounding like fucking babbling idiots because I know truth that they don't understand. They lose their billions today or tomorrow, they jumping off some fucking bridges or out of some windows, high rises. You are still here. That means you know you made us some different shit. Stop ignoring your divinity, your divine side. All right, that's all I got for you for now. It's your life. Choose it just as it is. Own it. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Change it. As long as you can breathe and learn, it can get better. And listen, there was a time when I was getting thousands of views and likes and comments on my stuff. Then I left the country a couple years ago, and that completely slowed down, but it didn't slow me down. So there are other that you can find me and my stuff. They just aren't too kind to me here. So maybe sharing some of it will get me back where I need to be. Because I left that place and found some major peace to be able to really tap into my, not just tap in, baby, I'm living fully, but it gave me the space I needed to tap into my full-on divinity. Now I'm living in it full on. All right, that's all I got for you. Later. Check out that view. Uh-huh.